Supposed to do this.
Cartoons. From the colorful and family-friendly world of Arthur to the crude and crass realm of South Park, there's no denying the immense popularity of cartoons. And speaking of popularity, when I was a kid, there was one particular cartoon that I loved extremely. And when I say that, I mean that I would tune into every new episode, buy every piece of merchandise that I could get my hands on, and frankly, obsess over it a bit too much. And this show was SpongeBob. Now, I won't talk about this show for too long because of a certain company. But there's one thing I wanted to talk about. And that one thing is the episode Procrastination. In the episode, SpongeBob is given an assignment by Mrs. Puff about what to not do at a stoplight. SpongeBob tries to complete the assignment, but throughout the episode keeps getting distracted, whether it be by Gary or by eraser shavings. And at first glance, this probably just seems like a regular, wacky, goofy episode of SpongeBob. But it starts getting a little creepy near the end of the episode. After SpongeBob swallows one of the eraser shavings, he goes to the kitchen to get a glass of water and then becomes hungry. As he looks through the fridge, he hears his doorbell ring, and it's the mailman with a package for SpongeBob. As SpongeBob keeps talking to the mailman suddenly says this.
Don't you have a paper to write?
How did he know I'm supposed to be writing an essay?
So as SpongeBob returns inside his home, we find that the TV is on and the news is playing. The anchor tells the viewers at home about SpongeBob, and it even jumps out of SpongeBob's TV and says,
When will he learn?
SpongeBob then karate chops the TV, which proceeds to the power being cut. And then SpongeBob's chair becomes alive. And it's suddenly midnight. SpongeBob races to his desk, but it seems that the closer he gets, the smaller he becomes. And then SpongeBob's pants run out of the house. SpongeBob is then blocked out of his own house. And then SpongeBob's clock becomes alive, and then some fire becomes alive. And the fire sets the house on fire. He's running around screaming. And then when you don't think that it can get any more crazier or creepier, this happens.
SpongeBob, why? Why did you set me on fire, SpongeBob? Why didn't you just write your essay? Stop wasting time!
Turns out to be a dream, but still. When I was a little kid, I had nightmares all the time. So it wasn't helping that my favorite cartoon at the time was giving me a big gallon of nightmare fuel for the night. But anyway, since we're talking about scary stuff, let's move on to our next cartoon, which is...
I'm not being grass like WTF and childhood cartoons. We've all had them, we all have them, but they've gotten out of hand recently, like with everything happening on Cartoon Network right now. But whatever, let's talk about the good ones. Adventure Time, let's start with that one. I don't think I would have gotten this far into art, because look at me, I'm so good at drawing, if it weren't for that colorful land of ew. The story base for Adventure Time is far more enjoyable than, like, all of the newer cartoons that are coming out now, but hey, that's just my opinion. Don't murder me, please. And one of the classics that is probably my favorite, Dexter's Laboratory. I mostly remember this show from not knowing how to change the channel from Boomerang in the morning, and then just ending up watching 3 to 48 hours of stuff like Powerpuff Girls,
No shame.
and Scooby-Doo, but most notably, Dexter's Lab. Now, if you're not familiar, this cheeky mother hecker has a sick lab in his room, but he's too much of a spoiled brat to share it with his sister Dee Dee, so just judging by that sentence alone, you know they're gonna make one hell of a cartoon. That's my 2 cents on the topic. Back to you, pal.
Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo. You are afraid of Scooby-Doo. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I wasn't talking about the original. I was talking about Mystery Incorporated. That's not scary. Never mind. Now, it's no secret that with every new Scooby-Doo comes a new art style. Some have been good, and others have been interesting. So, what do I think of the art style for the show? Well, personally, I really like it. It can sometimes even feel reminiscent of a comic book. The updated character designs are also very good, and can sometimes even give the show a darker tone. And speaking of which, I'm kind of glad they did change the tone of the series. The original shows always kind of had a lighthearted and silly tone to them, unlike Mystery Incorporated, which has a more serious and darker tone to it. So it was nice to see a change of pace for the Scooby-Doo franchise, even though the next installment went back to the core roots of Scooby-Doo.
My puppet of me's puppet of me has a puppet of me, and so on.
Let's just hope that the next Scooby-Doo will be as good, if not better, than Mystery Incorporated. Wait, they're making another one? What the fuck?
Calling the world from isolation. Right now, that's the ball where we be trained. And if you're coming back to find me, you better have good aim. Shoot it true, I need you in the picture, that's why I'm calling you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sydney, and thanks for watching Not Even Animations.